Welcome back. Welcome back. First off, let me say I've been under the weather, so if I sound a little crazy, it's because I am recovering. I am coming to you this morning. Welcome back to the Nerves. This one came across my um comments and emails with the link. By the way, if anything you want me to see, please um let me know and just drop the link inside of the comments and whatnot, and I will definitely look into it and give you my feedback on it. So I am reacting to this rare audio of enslaved Africans. Okay, before we get into it, I was like, I don't think so, because we all know, let's just do the math, we all know that slavery in America ended in 1865. So when was the first recording, audio recording machine made? Because you trying to tell me y'all was recording some slaves. But that was my first question. But let's just get right into this real quick.
I want you to tell me how you got your name. I got my name from President Jeff Davis, President of the Southern Confederation. He owned my grandfather and my father. My grandfather was a blacksmith, and my father had learned how to write a little bit in Richmond, Virginia, before he brought him down there.
You're listening to the voice of a formerly enslaved American, a man by the name of George Johnson. This rare and historic audio interview was recorded in 1941, almost 80 years after Mr. Johnson gained his freedom.
Okay, let me stop right there. So, as I look and as I see, it is possible, because if someone recorded some old man or woman in 1941, it is very possible that they could have been 10 to 11 years old when slavery ended. So they were enslaved for a good 10 years and can probably give some good, accurate, input about the ins and outs of what slavery was back then. So I just wanted to drop that one real quick. Here we go.
His family worked on a plantation in Virginia owned by Confederate leader Jefferson Davis, a staunch opponent of abolition. In the interview, Johnson recalls a day in the life as an enslaved person.
Did they drive the slaves down there in Davis' Bend very hard, or did they work them reasonable? Reasonable. You know, Marshall Jr. gave March as another boy, and boy was chopping cotton. Boy didn't kill, but the gang, you understand? He come to hoop, boy kill, you understand? That's the house of March Jr. boy. And that's what's the trouble, son. Say, Mr. Don't hoop me, because I would kill the gang.
Audio tape interviews like this are striking and uncommon, but are actually part of a long legacy of Black families, communities, and institutions, including historically Black colleges and universities, that lead the way in collecting and preserving the oral histories of the formerly enslaved people in the 19th and 20th centuries.
Now, why is that important? Well, because history, as they say, history one can and probably will repeat itself in some way, shape, or form. And it's also important to make sure that people know that there are some people that are down to erase history, certain parts of history. I don't know if you guys realize, but they're trying to, take the whole slavery out of textbooks. And, oh, we don't want to teach it in school because it makes the students feel a certain way, and it makes it uncomfortable for the teachers to answer those questions. Well, the history was harsh, so make it seem as if, it didn't happen when in fact it happened. So I'm glad that they are pushing this, because there are a lot of people that are, even our own people, it's quite sad, trying to convince others it never happened. Slavery didn't happen. They really got it in your mind that you were an enslaved person. No, I don't know why they're pushing this narrative that slavery never happened. I don't know what the agenda was for that, but luckily there are people who have grandparents and great grandparents who continue to always let people and remind them, and still have little ancient artifacts of things that is solid proof. And another thing, well, I'm going to get to this point in a minute because I want to keep going. Hold on.
In the 1930s and beyond, technology allowed some of these interviews to be recorded as part of both federal and independent projects. The details are often difficult to hear, but they remind us this history happened not too long ago, with names, faces, and stories. Do we know roughly how many of these recordings exist?
The recordings are relatively rare, but the recordings come from a much larger and really important and in many ways unsung collecting effort that took place. In terms of audio technology, most of it was not recorded by audio because the technology didn't exist, or at least in any kind of widespread accessible way when most of those were conducted. So it's really just a handful of audio recordings we have.
Literally a handful. Literally a handful. Oh, I wanted you to hear this lady because she okay.
I've been doing nothing about that kind of video. What kind of feel, oh goodness. Made my husband go out west and pick cotton. Go out west every year. We've been this year going out there picking cotton.
One of the things that kind of struck me, when you have an interview recorded in 1974, for some Black Americans, I mean, they're one generation removed from slavery.
In some ways, we think of slavery as ancient history. We think of it as something that happened a very long time ago to people
That's
we
what they
couldn't
want you to
possibly have
think.
known. I was 6, 7 years old in 1974. So it's kind of amazing that we were alive at the same time. I was alive at the same time who was someone who had been born enslaved.
Alex Haley's Roots premiered on ABC just 3 years after this interview with Celia Black.
What's your name?
Kunta.
His work, Roots, what became Roots really, through his grandmother's stories. So we're really talking about oftentimes great-grandparents.
Yeah, and I agree. My grandparents told me, and I definitely tell my kids the same. And I didn't want my kids to only hear it from me. It was imperative that I wanted my kids to know my grandparents. Oh wait, hold on, let me pause this because I have to share that me and my love took our children back to our hometown. And even though we did not want to live there, we did so that our children could know their great grandparents, so that they could know their great grandparents. It has been amazing for my kids. And I am very blessed and very fortunate for them to have known their great grandparents. They had formed such a bond and learned so much from them, that way more than I could ever teach them. And I just love it for them. I like the last grandparent of mine passed last year. So lived a very full, long life and was able to tell his story to all of the great grandchildren, anyone who was really to listen, right? And yeah, get back, sit down with your grandparents and your great grandparents if you have them. Like my oldest uncle is like 72, and his dad just passed last year. I don't know any 70-year-olds. I don't know any 60-year-olds that can say, hey, I'm 68 years old and I'm going to go visit my parents. Not a parent, but my parents. That's a blessing. That's a fortunate thing. And yeah, just last year, rest in peace, G-Pop. But yeah, my kids definitely got to sit down, hear all the stories, hear them all, embrace them all, and try to understand a little piece of them and where they come from. So I'm thinking this is amazing. I'm loving that it happened. I definitely, again, emphasize, do not let them rewrite this history, because if they're trying to abolish or take away this history, that means they're trying to take away us, the people that stem from this. And so, and I'm one of them. A lot of people, they be like, girl, you need to really think about it. You were always here. Yeah, I know there was natives here, and yes, I'm half native. My grandfather will say it all day. But the other half of me, yeah, came from an enslaved. And my grandfather's grandfather was a slave until he was around 11 or 12. And then that's when slavery ended in America. It wasn't all that long. Let me just state, it was not all that long ago.
No, I don't dance now. I try my best to serve my master. I'm trying my best to serve my heavenly Father.
You hear these recordings. What were
Now,
the
talk about classical conditioning. Did you hear that? She said, and I'm not sure how old she was.
You hear these recordings.
Hold on,
What
I
were
have
the
got
emotions?
to.
I'm trying my best to dance, but I don't do it now. No, I don't dance now. I try my best to serve my master. I'm trying my best to serve my heavenly Father.
You hear.
Now, that is super classical conditioning of the brain. For her at her old age, and I'm imagining she had to be 5, like if you were born in 1855, in 1865 when slavery was over, you were about 10, 11. By 41, when they say when these interviews were given around 1941, you had to be 80, almost 90, you're pushing, good 80 something years. And for her to say, I tried my best to serve my master, goodness gracious. I guess, I'll never know. I'll never know the mindset of an enslaved person. I'll never know, because for her to say that at 80, I mean, I don't know. I guess I could have worded it differently, but why not? We're talking about the times. And so that was her expression. Serve God, serve my master. I'm really curious at what age she was when slavery ended, because if that was her, because if that was her mindset, and like I get, when things are forced onto you, maybe the trauma of, but I don't know. I have reservations on that one. Let's keep moving.
They gave him a good name. Oh, Abraham Lincoln. They thought Abraham was they thought, everybody thought Abraham was the best president there was.
In a similar effort to preserve this.
That's kind of interesting. I love her wording on that one. Is they thought, oh, Abraham Lincoln, everyone thought he was the best president there was. I wonder what the real truth was. Because you giving off of, and that's again, I'm wondering how old she was. Because if she was 5, then yeah, it would reflect what she's saying. They thought, of course, if I'm 5, then yes, I'm looking at the adults and all of them thinking this man's great. If I'm 10, even 10 years old, I'm thinking, oh, okay, they think this man's great. So I'm curious as to how old the enslaved people were at the end of slavery. How old were you? Were you 10? Were you 12? Because that has to be the people that are giving these interviews. It has to be. You had to be like maybe 14 at best, 14 years old when slavery ended, for you to still be alive in 1941 for somebody to record you. I mean, it's reaching, but I have seen it. Like, there's people that 99 years old, 96 years old before they pass. So it's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just really wondering how old these individuals were when they were free. This guy goes on to say that the lady who was speaking was his great grandmother. I guess he found that ties to it, and he remembered her talking as, but to hear her voice and to tie it to her pain and things, I guess, was traumatic. If you are interested in this, of course, it's on ABC News Live. Look it up under what was it called? Recording. Let's get it right. I want to get it right. Rare audio of enslaved people. I don't know why they doesn't just say Africans. Enslaved people. And there you go. ABC News. Feel free to look into this and to this one. I wanted to definitely put my little 2 cents in, because I know people are out there really, 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 really to the depths of their soul trying to make it seem like, people were never enslaved. No, that's not right. You're crazy. That's crazy. That never happened. And where didn't it happen? You can't tell my grandpa it didn't happen. My grandfather will tell you. Both of my grandfathers. My grandfather on my dad's side would go to his grandfather, who spoke French and was a slave until he was around 12. He would go up the hill to his grandfather's house, and his grandfather would tell him all of the stories of how life went for him, and all of that good stuff. And my grandfather would get so upset. But yeah, like, it's important to know those stories, keep those stories, don't let nobody change them. If you have your grandparents in your life, if you have people that can tell you your history, get it from them. Get as much as you can from them, because they're bound to try to change it. They got all these, ancestries and needs for you to go to, and then they're going to tell you anything they want to tell you. Let your family tell you where you come from, if they can. I know a lot of them, they have disregarded, and a lot of them don't even like themselves, so they'll tell you anything. There's a lot of Uncle Ruckuses out there. So that's just something to think about as well. It's unfortunate, but it happens. And so I don't know. I wanted you to really, this is another one. This woman is reading from some Africans.
Ask your nearest neighbor with hair as gray as mine. This excerpt is from a volume Lay My Burden Down, which is the verbatim record of interviews with the last of the slaves. On the screen you will see the pictures in the volume of those who were interviewed. I will read only a small segment, just to give you a sense of the drama, the feeling and content which lies in this kind of historical material, which is the content we teach.
Well, they're trying not to teach it.
This one is called She Never Got to Keep Her Babies. My mother told me that Master owned a woman who was the mother of several children, and when her babies would get about a year or two of age, she'd sell them, and it would break her heart. She never got to keep them. When her fourth baby was born and was about 2 months old, she just studied all the time about how she would have to give it up, and one day she said, I just decided I'm not going to let old Master sell this baby. Just ain't going to do it. She got up and give it something out of a bottle, and pretty soon it was dead. Of course, didn't nobody telling her, or he'd have beat her nearly to death. Second segment, titled, I Just Said It to the Wrong Person. One time some Yankee soldiers stopped and started talking to me. They asked me what my name was. I say Liza, and they say, Liza who? I thought a minute and I shook my head. Just Liza, I ain't got no other name. He say, who live up yonder in that big house? I say, Mr. John Mixon. He say, you are Liza Mixon. He say, do anybody ever call you nigger? And I say, yes, sir. He say, next time anybody call you nigger, you tell them you was a Negro, and your name is Miss Liza Mixon. The more I thought of that, the more I liked it, and I made up my mind to do just what he told me to. My job was minding the calves back while the cows was being milked. One evening I was minding the calves, and old Master came along. He say, what you doing, nigger? I say, real pert-like, I ain't no nigger. I's a Negro, and I'm Miss Liza Mixon. Old Master sure was surprised, and he picks up a switch and starts at me. Law, but I was scared. I had never had no whipping, so I run as fast as I can to Grandma Gracie. I hid behind her, and she say, what's the matter with you, child? And I say, Master John going to whip me. And she say, what you done? And I say, nothing. She say, you know better. And about that time, Master John got there. He say, Gracie, that little nigger sassed me. She say, lawsy, child, what does ail you? I told him what the Yankee soldier told me to say. And Grandma Gracie took my dress and lifted over my head and pinched my hands and sides, and lawsy, how she whipped me. And I dasn't holler loud either.
Wow. I mean, no surprise. No surprise. I'm saying wow just because, I always do the visual in my head when people are telling their story. And yeah. Okay. I don't want to sit up and give too much to it because we already know that those are the type of things that happen, I just really hope that people take away from this was not very long ago. I mean, you got to do the math. I myself am fourth generation free. And now let's break that down. Let's see. My grandfather's grandfather was a slave. So that means his first son, Booker, was a free man. Booker had John. John had Barry. Barry had me. So I am fourth. It was enslaved, then Booker, that's 1, John 2, Barry 3, me 4. So I'm fourth generation free. And when I really think of it, first generation out of the cotton field, because my mother and father picked cotton when they were young. And it wasn't like can we call it sharecropping in the 80s and 70s? I guess it was still a form of sharecropping. It just, the title changed. So first generation out of the cotton field, because I never picked cotton, but did my parents? Yes. Did my grandparents? Yes. And so on, also. And then fourth generation free. Think about that. Not all that long ago. That's my takeaway on this one. Do your math. Go ahead and do the history. Do your research. Feel free to, comment, like, subscribe, all that good shit. But any questions you have about this one, I'm down for. I am going to make another one. Don't even get me started. Not on this, but on, what's happening currently and the slap in the face that we're giving our ancestors, because it is a slap in the face how we move as Black people. I think it's a slap in the face to our ancestors. And we really, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. It's a whole nother segment. And we'll get to that. But yeah, the takeaway here is this wasn't all that long ago. And if you can really let that sink in and think about it, maybe it'll allow you to move a little differently in the world. It wasn't all that long ago, and we're not doing nothing with it. Did it happen? Yes. Keep that at the forefront, because there are so many things that they are doing to try to make it seem like slavery never happened. In fact, I don't know if you know this one, please go look it up. They are saying, allegedly, that they're moving the Harriet Tubman was just a part of the civil rights movement. Harriet Tubman was nothing but part of the civil rights movement. They don't want to say that she helped free slaves, because that would indicate that slavery happened in America. No, that didn't even happen until the 60s. Harriet Tubman was in the 18-somethings. So explain. Oh, they can't. They're just trying to say that's how far back civil rights go. They're trying to change the narrative and the titles of things to make it seem like slavery never happened. Keep your eyes open on that one. That's my time today. Thanks for watching The Nerve. I'm out. Gotta make moves. Bye.